What's good? What's good? What's good? Thank you guys for joining us on this wonderful muggy Easter Sunday here in the South. How's Easter going for you up there, Mister Cleveland? What kind of weather you guys got up there at Easter Sunday?
Oh, I see you trying to rub it in already. And thanks to the fans. Hello, right back to you. No, it's about 49 degrees, partly sunny, so a little bit on the chilly side, little easterly breeze.
Easterly breeze. He said that's a good way to put it. I guess ain't nobody hanging out at Seattle Center on this Easter Sunday, huh? I mean
If
that
they don't, if they are, they have their overcoat on because it's chilly out there.
that used to be the thing to do, man. Get dressed all up after you go to church. Go down to Seattle Center. What was Seattle Center? We had a few rides down there, and just go out and hang out, and everybody's dressed up and fancy. But I guess that's not going on down there up
Yeah,
there.
that tradition is postponed at least for the time being until it warms up a tad bit.
Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is Easter Sunday, so happy Easter to all you guys. Thank you guys for fellowshipping with us. We're just going to give you a quick hit of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Got a few topics I pointed out that I want to get discuss with my guy here and all the fans involved. So please hit us up in the chat or hit us up at underscore Voice of the Fans, at underscore Voice of the Fans. If there's something specific you want to talk about, but I got some topics that we're going to have to talk about. First and foremost, to all you boxing fans out there, heck of a boxing card last night on Prime Video. Their first pay-per-view card last night, Cleveland. I don't know what you were doing. Maybe you were playing tiddlywinks, or I don't know what you guys were doing up there. Did you watch the boxing last night? Surprise the fans and let us know that you watched the boxing card last night, Cleveland.
Fans, I regret to inform you I did not watch the boxing card last night.
Fans, we got to work on them. Fans, help me out. Cleveland, what's your how can the fans get in contact with you?
They can find me Cleveland Steel on Instagram, Clevey Wonder on Twitter, Clevey Wonder on TikTok.
And you can hit us up at Voice of the Fans at underscore Voice of the Fans on Twitter. Cleveland, you missed a good night of boxing last night. We had the undercard with I missed several of the undercard fights, but apparently there were some good fights. Rolly Romero versus Pitbull Cruz. Rolly Romero been calling Pitbull Cruz. I saw Pitbull Cruz. He's been calling him Chihuahua for the last 3 weeks. Rolly talks a good game. However, he doesn't have the. Oh, I discovered last night he doesn't have a chin. That's Rolly's problem. Rolly doesn't have a chin. But he talks a good game. He just doesn't have the boxing acumen to go with the good the mouth that he has, because he talked up that fight pretty well. And I saw Cruz as he's a Mexican, so he comes with his Mexican brawling tactics. Just a good. It seemed like just an ordinary guy who just fell into boxing. That's what it appears to me. And I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know the tone which he speaks. But he seems like it's just an ordinary, a good guy that just kind of fell into boxing. And him and his wifey were broke and had no money at the time. And he said, "I'm going to box. I'm gonna fight for our freedom, our earnings." And that's what he's been doing. He had a fight with Tank. He went the distance with Tank. I want to say he had 2 fights with Tank, but I know he had one that he went the distance. His last fight, they went the distance. Rolly got knocked out by Tank. So these two get in the ring. And again, Rolly has some skills. I determined last night against Pitbull Cruz, he doesn't have a chin. Pitbull Cruz caught him with a couple haymakers and had him staggered in the first round right off the bat. And Rolly survived it. But I think he got knocked out in the 8th round. In the 7th round, he was dazed and staggering around. They could have stopped it then in the 7th round, but I thought it was a good job. I was happy that the refs didn't stop it, because it would have been controversial stoppage had they stopped it at the 7th round. I mean, he got staggered in the last seconds, the last 20 seconds of the round. And then again, if they stopped it, I think it would have been a controversial stop. But I thought it was a good job by the refs not to stop it. The refs after the bell, before going into the 8th round. He said, "Dude, if it gets close like that again, I gotta stop the fight. If it gets that close, I gotta stop." And I thought that was fair. That was actually Tim Harris, I think that was the referee's name. I thought that was a great job of refereeing. He's like, you warned them, like going into the round. If it gets that close, man, I gotta stop the fight. I can't hold back. Sure enough, midway through the 8th round, Cruz caught him with. I mean, Cruz. Everybody thought anybody who throws has a heavy hand. They want to compare him to Mike Tyson, which I thought the comparisons to Tank Davis to Mike Tyson was ludicrous. Like, again, anybody heavy hand since Mike Tyson. No, he punches like Mike Tyson. Whatever. But Cruz literally keeps his hands up, and his first punch is a looping right hook. His second punch is a looping left hook. There's no jab. There's no jab in his arsenal. So he's coming to hook you, whether it's the body, whether it's the head, he's coming to hook you to death, and you better watch out because he has a little power at his little 5. He must be 5'6". He must be 5'6". He's 138, but he has some. He's coming with some power, and Rolly just couldn't. I mean, he doesn't have the chin because he got wobbled in the first round, and he didn't have enough jab to kind of keep him. I thought he had more power than that, but he doesn't have enough jab to kind of keep Cruz. You would think that jab would keep a little guy like that off of him, but he didn't have enough jab. And Cruz went ahead to dispatching him in the 8th round, which again I was most impressed by the refereeing in that fight, and then Pitbull Cruz who just did a good job. Now he has a belt. I don't know what that says for 140. I don't know what that. I don't think that vaults him to the top of the 140 list with your boy Tszyu, your boy Devin Haney, Tank who waffles between 140 and 135. I don't think that vaults him to the top of that list because I think that's it was a good win by Pitbull Cruz. I thought going into the fight, he was a better fighter. I thought Rolly was underrated. He showed that he was a better fighter in winning that fight. But again, I don't think because now he took the belt from Rolly Romero. I don't think he might be the top 5 or top 6 or 5 or 6 fighters at the 140 division, which is a lot of people in that division. So we'll see what happens to what happens for him next. But nonetheless, he has a belt. Congratulations for Pitbull Cruz for getting that belt. The headliner, Cleavon, Cleavon, tell the fans who just joining us if you watched boxing last night or not.
I regret to inform the fans I did not watch boxing last night. No.
Do I have a boo? Let me see if I don't know if I have a boo here, fans, but I need to get a boo. No, that doesn't. I need to get a boo. Yeah, Cleavon taking shots. I need to get a boo.
Are you ready?
I need to get a boo. I need to get some boo soundtracks on here.
Sound effect, okay.
Look like a buffoon.
There you go. That's good enough, Cleavon.
Look like a buffoon.
The headliner tonight was Sebastian Fundora, who stepped in for Keith Thurman. In Cleavon's terms, Keith Thurman didn't want to fight that night, but he was fighting Tim Tszyu, the champion, the 2-belt champion at 154, coming up from Australia, has never fought in Vegas, was looking forward to the moment to fight in Vegas and gain some American fans and show Americans what he had at 154. And I was feeling like I liked Sebastian Fundora. As I mentioned before, Cleavon, I probably told you this over the weekend before the fight or on our show last week. Sebastian Fundora, 6'6", 154, but he doesn't fight like he's 6'6". He doesn't realize he's 6'6". You know how Anthony Davis doesn't realize he's 6'11" until he's playing against some bums, and he likes to play the forward position. He doesn't like to take his butt down low and bang with the big guys. That type of mentality. You know what I'm talking about, right? but he likes to, there's a Mexican style of boxing where all these guys like to get in the fight in the phone booth, stand in the middle of the ring and just let the haymakers go, right? Just see him who can withstand the barrage of punches. That's how some of these guys fight, primarily Mexicans. So they've been coined the phrase Mexican style boxing. Fundora, that's a disadvantage for him at 6'5". When he gets in the middle of the ring and try to get in the phone booth, his arms are so long that it's tough for him to connect with these short punches when the guy's right up on him, right? It's tough for him to do the uppercuts. It's tough for him to do the body blows because, dude, your arms are so long. You got to stand back and use your reach. So I was concerned about that. And fans, I tweeted this out last night. The only way Fundora needs to before the fight, I tweeted, Fundora needs to fight his instincts to just bang in the middle of the ring and use his distance. Use the guy, you got the distance nobody else has. Use that arm length to stay out of Tszyu's reach, who Tszyu's coming to knock you out. Use that arm length to stay out of his reach and just keep the jab going. 1-2, jab, use that reach, stay away from him. Don't get in a banging, brawling match. And Tszyu won the first round. He won the second round, but late in the second round, Tszyu ducks his head and comes in. And it was kind of weird how it happened because it wasn't, a basketball, a Manu Bull or a Dikembe Mutombo. When they get to swinging their elbows, they catch somebody on the eyelid, right? You can see that the point of their elbow connects and it splits their eye open, right? Tszyu kind of like caught the inside of the elbow. It wasn't really the elbow. Kind of caught the inside, and it was kind of really weird how that split a cut right on his head, like right on his, not forehead, but on his head. And it was a gusher. It was a gusher. Immediately, Tszyu puts his head down and the water faucet was on from then on. Joe Goosen, one of the ring announcers, Hall of Fame trainer, they could never control that cut from the second round on. It went the distance, but they can never control the bleeding. And with the Vaseline, the ointment they used, it wasn't control. It wasn't stopping the blood. It wasn't coagulating. Coagulating the scab. It wasn't. It wasn't stopping. It never stopped the blood, the bleeding. So immediately, Tszyu put his head down, and the thing just started flowing. At the same time, Tszyu early in the fight had caught. He was jabbing and catching. By the second round, he had caught Fundora's timing, and he was jab, boom, jab, boom, and caught Fundora right in the chin, on the chin, right in the mouth and the nose. And Fundora had a bloody nose, had a busted mouth early in the second round before the cut. So after the cut, coming in the third round, they're both bleeding. They're both all bloodied up. But Tszyu started doing this, with his glove on because he couldn't see that blood was just streaming right down into the eye, right down into the eye. They asked, I think it was in the fourth round, coming to the fourth round, like, dude, are you okay? Like, should we stop this? Obviously there's a championship bout. He doesn't want to stop the fight. You have to fight 4 rounds before the fight become official and they go to the scorecard. But Sebastian Fundora had at that point, and that changed the cut changed the fight. It did change the fight because Tszyu now for the 4th, 5th, 6th round, he's worried about this cut, because he can't see, so he lost his timing, and Fundora just stepped back and kept jabbing right hand at that cut, or right hand at him, but not at the cut, but the cut streaming down the fight. Fundora is start using his reach. Very impressive fight. Very, very impressive. And I don't know. If I was there, that's the question I would have asked Sebastian Fundora. Did you have a hard time staying disciplined and not trying to bang with this guy? Was that the game plan? Because we've never seen that from him before, ever. But he's using that reach. He's using that reach, staying away, staying out of the fighting zone. And that was the most impressive win. The cut aside, you got cuts happen in boxing, right? So you kind of gotta ignore it. You can't. It happened, true enough, but you can't say that's the reason he won, because that happened in the second round. They still have to fight 10 other rounds, and whether they didn't have the right ointment. And Joe Goosen made a good point. He's like, in Nevada, they're able to use 1, 2, 3 different ointments that are legal that's going to stop that cut. But he didn't. Goosen's like, I don't think they have that right ointment in the corner, because that cut is not stopping. You see a cut over the eye, and within a couple rounds, that kind of cut and the bleeding that really slowed down or hindered, with the Vaseline or the different ointments that they use, they spackled a lot of this stuff on there. But again, the cut never stopped bleeding. It never stopped bleeding till after the fight, obviously. Now when they're able to hold the towel on there. But I credit Fundora. I love the job that he did. Use his length, use his distance to keep Tim Tszyu off of him. And that was the most disciplined fight I've seen from him, because he had to fight against his instincts to just get in there and bang and use his distance to keep him off of him and outpoint him in the fight. He didn't knock him out. I didn't expect him to knock him out. I didn't expect him to knock Tim Tszyu out. But at that size, with that reach, if you outpoint your opponent, that's boxing. Get in there, and he showed. So he fought a smart fight, Cleveland. With a cut like that, Cleveland, I know you didn't see the fight. I know you didn't, but the gash, it was a gash. It was one of the ugliest gashes I've seen in my. Otto Wallin fought Klitschko. This has been since I've been covering boxing. So this had to be 2019, maybe. Klitschko had a cut over his eye that, oh my goodness, it looked like the eyelid was hanging over his eye. That's how bad that cut was. That the eye, it literally looked like the eyelid was hanging over his eye. Like it wasn't the blood that was hindering him, but it was the eyelid hanging. That's how wide that cut was. It was like 2 fingers of like this here. Wasn't a natural cut, because cuts over the eye can get real ugly. But Otto Wallin hit Klitschko, and it went. I want to say they stopped the fight. I don't remember exactly what happened, but that was the ugliest. That was the let me look up. That was the ugliest fight, or the ugliest cut that I've seen. I want to say they robbed Wallin of that fight. That's what comes to my mind. I think they robbed Wallin. They gave it to Klitschko because he was the. But that was the ugliest cut, Cleveland. What's the ugliest cut you've seen in boxing? No, fans. We know Cleveland doesn't watch boxing, so this is going to be a very limited knowledge right here. But go ahead, Cleveland.
So in the Hagler-Hearns fight, that was an ugly cut for Hagler. I ran the blade, Barkley-Hearns. That was an ugly cut for I ran the blade. I have seen Arturo Gatti fight. It wasn't Mickey Ward, and it wasn't Floyd Mayweather, but it was someone else. Horrific cut, but he kept banging it out. I've seen Diego Corrales with some pretty ugly cuts. Tough it out. Well, those are probably some of the ugliest cuts I've seen.
Yeah, that was that Diego Corrales, yeah, he's fought in some serious bloody matches. Uh, he fought in some bloody matches, but this cut, yeah, this gash, this was a deep gash over his head that over Tim Tszyu's head that it was just it just kept going. Eventually they were able to slow down the blood from the nose of Fundora, from the mouth of Fundora, but they weren't in Tim Tszyu's corner. They weren't able to stop they were not able to stop the bleeding, and or they weren't able to control it, and it did hinder Tim Tszyu. I, I can't refute that. However, boxing, you got to live with what's going on in the ring, right? Fundora was able to. He just fought a very disciplined fight, the fight that he needed to win, or he needed to fight to win that fight, which was impressive. So now, I think they should have ran that back. I think there's no question there's no question in my mind that they should run this back, because it wasn't. A couple things happened. That was the most disciplined fight we've ever seen Sebastian Fundora fight. Credit him for winning, for fighting that fight and allowing him to win that fight. But then uniquely, that was a very unique gash that Tim Tszyu had, that kind of, I don't want to say took him out of the fight, but didn't allow him to fight his best fight. So if we run it back, maybe that we're hoping that that doesn't happen, right? And then we see these two men go at it again straight up, because now Sebastian I was kind of honestly going into the fight, I was like, man, this doesn't feel good for Sebastian, because I'm thinking everything is geared towards Tim Tszyu. This doesn't feel good for Sebastian, but he came in there and he fought an excellent fight. I just can't express um, how I can't give him enough praise for the fight that he fought, because he fought an excellent fight, very disciplined fight to win that fight. But I think these two men should run this fight. Whether Tim Tszyu is able to heal quickly enough to have a fight around Thanksgiving, give him 6 months to heal, or 6 months, a couple months to heal, a couple months to train. We're looking at Thanksgiving when that fight should happen again. Or what's your thoughts on Crawford already said weeks ago he wanted to fight the winner of this fight, and it was kind of a gentleman's agreement that the speculation was that Tim Tszyu was going to win this fight. So the gentleman's agreement was that Tim Tszyu would fight Thurman, or excuse me, Tim Tszyu would fight Crawford, assuming he won that fight. That was kind of the gentleman's agreement. But then your boy Errol Spence climbs in the ring. Errol Spence actually tweets out Thursday, I think it was, that I'm going to Vegas and I want the winner. I want the winner of the fight. Errol Spence is a PBC fighter. Crawford is not a PBC fighter. So it kind of looks like Crawford is getting boxed out of the fight with Sebastian Fundora, because again, he said he wanted the winner 2 weeks ago. That he wanted the winner of that Fundora Tim Tszyu fight, but because Errol Spence is already a PBC fighter, he shows up in the ring. He says, "I want it next." They asked him in the ring, what would you guys think about this fight? And they try to hype up that fight with Spence versus Fundora. What do you think? What's your thoughts on Crawford and Spence now clamoring to fight Fundora? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, as you know, boxing has become, it sounds real political, Cam. I mean, first thing you said is he's this kind of fighter with this organization. So apparently that means something, which basically means which basically means that it's political and that it's all about finances, and it's not about who's going to actually give us the best fight. And Errol Spence has realized that it's going to be a very difficult task to beat Crawford. So he's got to try and get his money somewhere. So he might as well, jump in and throw his, hat in the ring with regards to fighting the champion, so that he doesn't have to fight Crawford again. And also taking away Crawford's opportunity to express, and display his dominance again. So, yeah, that's just how boxing goes these days. Real political.
Oddly enough, Cleveland, I don't want to see Crawford and Fundora. I think, first of all, let me say, I think Sebastian Fundora and Tszyu need to have a rematch. That's definitely a rematch worthy fight. Tim Crawford clearly whooped Errol Spence ass, so that's not in question. He'll beat for Sebastian Fundora. I mean, they went to the 9th round, if I'm not mistaken, to the 7th. Yeah, I think he knocked him down twice in the second, and twice in the 7th, and then it ended in the 9th round, if I'm not mistaken. I may have the rounds mixed up. Sebastian Fundora is not making it to the 9th round against Terrence Crawford. Whether he decides to bang Terrence Crawford or he fights that disciplined fight he fought the last night, he's not making it to the 9th round. Whatever style he fights, that's not happening. I really don't want to see that. Like, I know that's gonna happen. Spence and Fundora, they're both PBC fighters. That's why that's why he was in the ring last night. That's why that's easily signed fight. Hey guys, Sebastian, you're the champ. You get 51. Earl Spence, you're a legacy dude. You get 49% of the purse. However, it's an easily done fight. That fight is easily done. Where if they fought, if Crawford was in there, like, they have to give Crawford 60% of that purse. Period. They have to. Like, he's already dominated. Your top PBC top guy was absolutely obliterated by Terrence Crawford. Don't come at me with, oh, he's the champion now. Stop it, cut it out. So there is some politicizing to that, and if Crawford gets boxed out of this, if Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora don't run this back, and Crawford gets boxed out of fighting the champion,
then it will be another example of the corruption of boxing. Yes,
that's absolutely yes. Okay, fans. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause for being here today. Cleveland, it's time. It's time, Cleveland. It's as you guys know, those of you who follow the show, I've had a little more time on my hands over the last week and a half. I've been able to sit on the couch in the evening time and watch some NBA basketball, Cleveland. And some of the basketball I've chosen to watch, and I wanted to take a better look, Cleveland, at this kid, Victor Wembanyama. Have you heard of him?
I've heard of Big Vic.
And I wanted to know, I see some highlights. I watched a couple games before this week. But I wanted to take a deeper look into Victor Wembanyama. My first question, Cleveland, to you is, has he lived up to the hype?
The second half of the season, most definitely. It was a little bit steeper of a learning curve than I think he or the Spurs anticipated in the first half. Him adjusting to the physicality of the league, kind of the way things operate, some of the nightly matchups, and I think it took his teammates a little bit of time as well to kind of adjust to the talent that they were playing with. It didn't seem to me that they were understanding how dominant he actually really is, and were not deferring to him as often as they should have. But in the second half, they've kind of gotten it all together, and he's put up some historically impressive stats.
Cleavon, Victor's averaging 20 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, 3.4 assists a game, and a league-leading 3.4 blocks per game. This kid is doing stuff, man. This kid made a couple moves. It's not only the stats, but it's the moves that he's making. Do you remember? First of all, everybody remembers Dr. J going under the backboard against the Lakers, right? Under the backboard and flipping the ball in on the other side of the rim. Like, that's the average play in the NBA, Cleveland. I'm not sure that's the average play. A lot of players are making that up and under move. Jordan perfected it when he did I don't even know what you call that, but when he drove to the hoop against Derek Coleman and the New Jersey Nets and just kind of slid through and jumped up on the left side of the hoop and ended up laying it up on the right side of the hoop off the glass. Like, I don't even know what you call that move right there. Well, that was MJ. But that play, a lot of players are doing that today. But Victor Wembanyama made a move the other night, Cleavon, where he was on the wing and went between his legs, and the guys were trying to push him towards out of bounds, like they're using out of bounds as a boundary, like a cornerback would do, is kind of push the receiver to out of bounds, and anything the receiver does, he's going to be out of bounds with the next step. But Victor took a step and was like outside the key, took a step and crossed the guy up and then dunked the ball from outside the key. Like, the guy is trying to push, he's trying to body him out of bounds, but Victor was so long and lanky that he's able to dunk the ball when he takes off outside the key. Like, just so it's not only the stats, it's kind of what these guys is able to do on a basketball court. That's just kind of, you have to rewind it a couple times to actually understand and see what the kid is, what he's actually doing. Cleveland, is this the best rookie? Who's been a better rookie that we've seen in basketball? Who's been a better rookie than we've seen in basketball? Cleveland. And I know what you're gonna say, but and then I'll have to give some stats to back you up. But who has been a better rookie than Sabathia?
In the history of basketball, we're talking about? Or
in the history of basketball, yes.
Kareem.
A better rookie than.
Yeah, he won the championship his rookie year. Kareem, Magic, Larry Bird, and LeBron James have all been better rookies.
So, where I will agree with you is that team success equals a better season. I will agree with you. But you, Mr. Tennis Star, Mr. Do It All by Myself, all alone. I mean, I still question your team player acumen because you play tennis. There wasn't no team to play on. There wasn't no team to partner with on the tennis court, right? Your tennis coach is 10 rows up in the stands, right?
True.
So I still question your team acumen. And I would expect a player this dominant that the team be better, that he impacts winning better. So where I would agree with you, you can say Tim Duncan. You can say Magic Johnson. Kareem. I mean, come on. I mean, Larry Bird would take his team winning 30 more games, 33 more games than they won the year before. Obviously, that plays into it. So I will agree with you on that. Cleveland, the Olympian run rookie, and that's your guy, Wilt the Still, who averaged 38 points and 27 rebounds.
Yeah,
You know,
coming up to 30 games.
albeit it was against
See,
insurance
don't get all JJ Redick about it. They were out there.
And accountants. You know, insurance salesmen, accountants, and bankers, stockbrokers. You know, he did that. Can't nobody take that from him. And he essentially wrote the record book, rewrote the record book playing against those accountants and stockbrokers, right? Victor's playing against real NBA players. Okay. So we sometimes we just can't even recognize, or we can't add Wilt to the conversation because the competition was so much different, right? You agree with that? You have to agree with that, right?
Perhaps the records are a little distorted, but to say that they have no relevance is a little bit of an insult to Wilt, given the fact that he was the most dominating player the minute he stepped on the court, which Victor Wembanyama has not been.
I mean, when you say the most dominant, what was the Olympic, not Olympic style, but he was Olympic level athlete, right? Did anybody he played against, were they capable of participating in any Olympic sport? Cleveland, the answer would be no. Okay, no, that would be the answer. So the competition a little distorted is an understatement. Enough about that. But this is about Wemby. This is about Victor. Cleveland. If you add up the point steals, rebounds, and assists, and blocks per 36 minutes among rookies, Victor, there's no competition to what Victor Wembanyama is doing. That would be 49.1 for Victor Wembanyama. Just give me some names, Cleveland, and I'll tell you if they're in the next five. If you add up points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals, just name some names who you think might be on this level, and I'll give you a hint. The guy, the three you mentioned, Kareem, Magic, Bird, are not on this list. Knowing that, just give me some names that you think could compete with the rookie season that Victor Wembanyama is having.
Shaq, Hakeem, LeBron.
Only one of those guys made the list. This list of the next five that on the next five, well, I'm saying, okay, only one of those guys. And you want to, so I'll give you out of the three you named, Shaq, Hakeem, LeBron. Pick one.
Hakeem.
No. And you want to pick another? You another try, or you just want me to start giving you names, Cleveland?
Just start giving me names, man, because you're statting me to death, and it's distorting for the fans. You know what I'm saying?
It's not distorting for the fans. I'm trying to make a point. What's going on?
With your hollow stats, and you're not really saying much. So just go right to your list.
Hollow stats, Cleveland. The reason you can say these are hollow stats, and I can't refute I couldn't refute if you gave me the argument that his team is they haven't won 20 games. And let me see. I don't think they've won 20 games. If you want to say that they haven't won 20 games, I have no argument there. I have zero argument there. If you want to say they haven't won 20 games, and let me just confirm this before I say it in Cleveland.
They were eliminated from playoff contention in February.
Again, Cleveland, if you want to say I agree with that. I agree with that. If you want to just say looking at upon him They're the worst team in the. They're not the worst team in the league. They're the fourth worst best team in the league. That right now, as of today, they're 18-56. So if you want to say he doesn't impact winning, I totally agree. I have no argument there, and that's what I said. As the best rookie ever that we've ever seen, he should have impact winning better. But the Spurs hasn't helped him out. The Spurs haven't helped him out, and I'm kind of questioning. Shame on Pop. Pop, you see what you have coming in. Why don't you put a team? Pop, you've been around the league long enough. You've seen. Maybe you haven't seen quite this talent, and I understand that. But you've been around the league long enough to know that a big guy coming in here with these type of skills, these type of unique skills, he's probably going to need a veteran point guard on the team. Somebody that can identify when he's open, somebody can help him get open, somebody that can help him get easier shots. Pop, I kind of put that on Pop. And again, if I had the chance to ask him, I'm like, Pop, boy, do you take responsibility for not constructing a better team around him? And now I'm not looking for you to construct an all-star team around him, but construct a better team around him that at least he can make that transitions a little better and he can use his talents and these other guys can help him be better sooner. Like, I kind of put that on the Spurs. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, a tad bit, but to your point, Pop has also coached Tim Duncan and David Robinson, so I think he understands that aspect of the game fairly well. Perhaps he just gave a little bit too much credit to Victor and how long it was going to take him to make that adjustment.
Okay, so again,
let's get back to your statting me to death. So you were statting me.
Now you're interested in this list.
Sure. I mean, the suspense is killing me at this point. You've been statting me to death with this remarkable stat line that only like people on Mars could do. So what is it, man?
People on Mars again, fans. I just add a reference to it now. Cleveland doesn't like stat, but now he's interested in the stat all of a sudden. I tried to deviate, and he wants to bring it right back. So if you add up points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks per 36 minutes among rookies, right? This is some of the top rookies to ever play this game. Cleveland gave me, who'd you give me? Kareem, Shaq, and Magic, and LeBron?
It was, yeah.
What did I get? Help me get it up. Help me correct it.
Yeah, no, it was Kareem, Magic, Bird, and LeBron. I thought were better rookies.
None of these guys are on this list. And I just go 5 deep. I'll just go 5. I was just going 5 deep. Or after Victor, there's 5 other guys. It was not one of the, well, Shaq was on the list. Shaq is on the list. And this list goes Victor at 49.1. David Robinson at 43.2. Shaq at 41.3. I know you don't like to give Michael any love, but Michael's on the list, 41.1. Ralph Sampson, 40.9. And Luka Doncic, 40.7. Victor is at 49.1, 6 points higher than David Robinson. Staggering. I know it blows your mind. I know that blows your mind. But now, are you still want to discount that stat? I'm sure. I'm guessing you still want to.
Yeah, all those other players. That team made the playoffs, right? And this team doesn't even won 20 games.
Again, and that's
hollow stats, meaningless stats because it doesn't translate to winning at all.
So his 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. 3.4 blocks are meaningless. That's what you're saying now.
20, 10, and 3 is an impressive rookie season, but by no means like the greatest rookie season in the history of basketball. No, I can't give him that on a team with 18 wins. No.
So never mind the fact that.
Yeah, never mind that stat that you just concocted per 36 minutes via the trade windmill or whatever, system you were using. Yeah, man. No.
They limit him to 28 minutes per game. They limited the Spurs have limited him to under 29 minutes per game.
Good. They're trying to bring him along slowly.
So even in doing that, He's been able to give you 29, 10, and 3. I'm playing 20. I'm
20.
playing
20, 10.
excuse me, 20, 10, and 3.
Okay.
And playing limited minutes.
Great.
There's no credence to that.
So now here's the even funnier part about your stat. He's not even averaging those minutes. So what you're doing is projecting if he was actually playing those many minutes. He's
No.
Yes, you are. Because you said 36 minutes. You see he's averaging 29 minutes a game.
Well, that's actually a stat per. I mean, they have the stat.
So he's not playing 36 minutes a game. You're projecting what he would be able to do if he was playing 36 minutes a game.
Boy, I tell you, this guy fan. So Victor's a bust.
Yeah, you don't like it when the stats. You don't like it when the stats hit back at you, huh?
So Victor's a bust, according to Cleveland. Victor Wembanyama is a bust, according to Cleveland.
I never said bust. But I said
according to Cleveland, Victor Wembanyama is a bust. And you guys heard it here.
And then you got double exposed because first he was trying to stab me to death.
What is your
mouth, letting everybody know that Victor doesn't even play that many minutes.
What is your Twitter handle, Cleveland fans? Get at him.
Oh, exactly. You wonder. Yeah, hit me up with this one.
What?
Cam tried to only use the stats to his advantage, not really revealing the full impact of them. And then he did, and then oops, I made a mistake.
You didn't tell me your Twitter handle. The fans want to know that your Twitter handle. We got something to say to you.
Oh no, it's everybody at Clevie Wonder. Tell me all about this. Tell me all about this projecting what he would be able to do if he was playing 36 minutes a game.
The fans. Who's been a better defender than Victor Wembanyama? Cleveland calls him a bust. So Cleveland calls him a bust.
I never said that, fans. He's trying to put words in my mouth because his stats came back to bite him in the ass. But no, not having it. And who's the defensive player of the year? It's Victor Wembanyama. How ironic is that?
Cleveland. His 3.4 blocks, Cleveland, are the most in the past 7 years. Does that elevate him? Where does that put him? Did that make him defensive player of the year?
For sure. Yeah.
You think even on a team that has only going to have who have 56 losses?
Yeah,
I struggle with that.
Well, Cam, that defense is not necessarily indicative to how many wins you have. I mean, it helps, but it's not the end all be all.
So you have them? You say Magic. You have Larry Bird. Larry Bird went from 29 wins to 61 wins. You have Chamberlain accounted for 17 more wins and won the MVP award. Again against accountants and stockbrokers. Where do you have him on the list? Magic obviously won the MVP, won the NBA championship, assisted by Kareem's Lakers. Where do you have him? You have him behind those guys as the greatest rookie season ever?
Yeah, I have him behind all of the aforementioned names. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes him the number 5. Then
you slipped up and you said how remarkable David Robinson's impact was. And then you slipped up and you said how remarkable Tim Duncan's impact was. And then you slipped up and you said how remarkable Shaq's impact was. And then you slipped up and said how remarkable LeBron James' impact was. So he's behind all those guys too.
I don't think I ever mentioned LeBron's name. So you have him according to Cleveland. Victor Wembanyama is not even in the top 10 of rookie seasons ever in the history of the game.
Correct. Yes.
According to Cleveland.
Correct.
That sounds like bust to me. That sounds like bust to me.
How was that a bust? It's one of the 10 greatest rookie seasons ever. By no means.
I said outside the top 10. Is he in the top 10 or outside of the top 10? Which one do you want to go? Now you're waffling on me.
Round 10. Round 10ish.
Is that 10 or 11 or 9? Which one is it?
It doesn't matter. You're splitting hairs when you're talking about that. He's somewhere in the top 10. 9 or 11.
11 is not in the top 10.
Okay, 9, 10, or 11. Somewhere around there, man. I'm not gonna get into the specific greatest rookie of all time debate.
Even
And it's a rookie
9,
season.
10, or 11.
Why are we even having this conversation?
I'm talking about Victor Wembanyama.
You like to project too much, Cam. Why don't you just let people do what they've actually done? Okay, you're too much into projections, man.
I'm into projections. I'm trying to look at. I'm telling you what he's done is arguably the numbers are best against the best.
But then you throw the numbers up, and then you realize that the argument doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hold any water. Because first of all, your argument is projecting more minutes than he's actually playing. So that's not even a thing.
No, I told you his average, Cleveland. I ran this down to you the other day when we were talking about averages. We're talking about the averages of Brandon Ingram's average of 20 points a game. When I showed you, I went down to his game log, and he was giving you 29 points or 20 points a game on average, but that was so erratic. He had a 30-point game 2 weeks ago, and then a 7-point game 2 games later. I told you so. That's erratic.
You just don't like Brandon Ingram, and the stats didn't reveal what it is that you wanted them to reveal. Because I believe Brandon is actually averaging 25?
No,
or was it 27 a game?
No, I think it was 20 points a game.
No. It's either 25 or 27. I'll look it up if do I need to look it up?
Go ahead, look it up. But I also want you to look up the log. I want you to actually look up the log. Okay. So
see now, once again, these stats are getting you in trouble, Cam, because you stat too much. That's what your problem is.
Once again, to clarify, fans, to sum it all up, Cleveland calls Victor Wembanyama a bust.
You're always statting people.
Cleveland called Victor Wembanyama's rookie season a bust. To sum it all up,
I did not say that.
Because
I said it was by no means one of the greatest in the history of basketball.
Well, while he's looking that up, fans, and you can get back to us at the number. We just got a few more minutes left.
Okay, Brandon. Okay, you're right. Brandon's at 21 a game.
Thank you. Once again, what did you say? I didn't hear you.
I said you're right. Brandon's at 21 a game. I thought it was a little higher than that. Honestly.
Okay, and if you looked at the game log, you would see a different story. Again, that we just tied this conversation a couple of days ago, Cleveland. Whereas again, he had 34, and then 2 games later he had 7. So again, the inconsistency there, and we were talking about Zion Williamson. So again, Cleveland, Victor Wembanyama. I mean, fans, tune in. We only got a couple weeks left in the season. Tune in and see what you can. The Victor has been. He's been amazing. And again, it's not just stats; it's what he's actually done on the court. The moves that he's making, scaring shooters away from taking shots. I mean, it's some of what he's doing is remarkable. And again, I'd love to question Pop on kind of the formulation of this team, because I think they could have did better job of putting a better team around Victor. So shame on them guys for not having a better team for him to play with. Cleveland, let's talk about this NCAA tournament. For the first time since 2015, Cleveland, we've had a team make the Final Four in football and basketball. Cleveland, the Alabama Crimson Tide has done that. Cleveland, who was the last school to have a team to make the Final Four in football and basketball, Cleveland?
You just said the Alabama Crimson Tide.
No, they did that this year. Since then, the last time it happened in 2015.
Oh, last time probably I would have to say Florida.
No, it's a long way from Florida. Long way from Florida. And Michigan State Spartans were the last team to actually do that. It's an odd stat, obviously, because teams usually you're either a football school or basketball school, right? And this is it's kind of odd happening, but that's kind of the unique story of the NCAA tournament. What's been the best story that you know coming out of the NCAA tournament?
From what I can see to this point, it has been NC State's improbable run to the Elite Eight. I've seen them play a few too many times, and they're not really very talented.
Oh, he's hot, man. That sounded like he lost some money on them.
I have. I'm not even going to front. Yeah,
He's hot about that one. He's hot about that one. Is this? I mean, I'm looking forward to the girls. I'm sorry, fans. Spurs rookie Victor Wembanyama was penalized 25 grand for throwing the ball into the stands as time expired against a win in versus the Knicks on Friday. So I guess now Victor is learning about the NBA. Doesn't play a lot of stuff right here. You can't do that. So they took it easy on him at 25 grand. I'm looking forward to the women's Final Four though, Cleveland. How is that? I think that's taking more notice in the men's tournament. Would you agree or disagree?
The names are more familiar. The storylines are a little bit more intriguing, and the upper echelon players are, I would have to say, better with regards to the talent or the competition around them. So, yeah, the Caitlin Clarks, the Jujus, the what's my girl's name over at LSU? That's getting her run in. The young lady over at UConn as well. So yeah, those are probably better. Yeah. So yeah, those are probably more anticipated matchups with regards to the tournament adverse the men's. And Houston and Arizona also not winning. Houston, Arizona, and North Carolina not doing what they were supposed to do was pretty surprising.
Arizona get knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am looking though. I'm looking forward to seeing how the women shake out. I mean, because you got Juju getting her team there. And again, we're gonna have a rematch of the championship. We are gonna have a rematch of the championship with LSU and Iowa.
That's not Final Four now. That's
no, you're right. I'm saying. I mean, I'm just saying that's tomorrow night, right? Monday night.
Right.
That's gonna be. I mean, that's a heated matchup, and again, there's still more to go, right? Like there's still.
Yeah, I mean, South Carolina is not a clinched Final Four. UConn hasn't clinched Final Four. That's still unfinished business.
UConn and SC is going to match up tomorrow. Iowa, LSU is going to match up tomorrow. We got Texas and NC State. That's today. This is on a women's bracket. And then, I mean, South Carolina, Oregon State. Oregon State got a chance. I know you don't like those Beavers, but do they got a chance?
They had an upset in the round before, so yeah, they have a legitimate chance.
They beat Notre Dame. Nebraska previously. And then today we got in the men's bracket. In the men's bracket, who we got today?
Who is wrapping this up? We have Duke NC State is one of the games. Oh, and Tennessee and Purdue's the other game, right?
Yeah, Tennessee, Purdue. Are you going with Zach Edey?
Yeah.
You say that confidently. Is Zach Edey going to be a top? He going to be a top 10 pick in the league?
Should be.
You think so?
Yeah.
Even after his 3 years at LSU or not at LSU at Purdue?
Yeah, that hasn't changed the fact he's 7'4".
I mean, but again, you stay. You know how they do in the NBA. If you stay too long,
Yeah, except for this 7'4".
Huh?
Except for this dude 7'4" is about to win a national championship, quite possibly.
Oh, so you calling my bracket correct then? Because I got Edie winning the Final Four.
I say quite possibly. I
Oh,
don't
see.
recall if he's on the Connecticut side or not on the Connecticut side. So
Connecticut is doing their thing. The coach wearing the same draws every game. And Connecticut is doing their thing. I mean, what do you think about the coach saying that Hurley saying that his wife washes his underwear so he can wear them for the next game? I mean, at least she washing them, I guess, right?
you know, Cam, as a fan, I love that kind of superstition, man. If you think something is working, and clearly is working, you can't tell that. You can't, like, we take it back to Bull Durham days, man. You can't tell me no different, man. Yeah,
I mean, come
that's
on,
why
man.
you winning.
What is his underwear got to do with how hard this team was
He
playing?
decided that then every time I wear these draws, we win. So I will keep wearing these draws. I'm not nasty. I'm gonna wash them every day, but yeah, them is the ones I'm gonna put on.
Did you hear him say that after the game? I got to get these to my wife so she can hand wash them.
I didn't hear him say it, but it was
He
so
said
much
that after
made
the game.
about it. There was so much made about it that yeah, I heard about it incessantly. But I thought I didn't see a problem with it, Cam. I didn't see a problem with it.
Oh man! So you got your wife hand washing your drawers? What will you get after you get a big win?
If I'm winning 18, 19 games in a row, and every time I had the Michael Kors on, we go, oh yeah, you lost it. Put them back on. Yeah. I'm okay with it. I think it's hilarious.
The superstition is one thing, but come on, I mean, driving the same route to the game.
Eating the same,
I
eating
get
the
it.
same food.
I get it. Having the same pregame meal.
On the same, yeah.
I mean,
real.
wearing the lucky socks. I get
Yeah.
it.
That stuff is real.
With the same draws now, come on.
He's taking that baseball superstition. He just brought it to basketball. Is all.
Okay, fans. Well, let's keep our eye on seeing what's going on. How this plays out. If UConn's going to get there, they're going to play. They're going to play Purdue and upset Edie. We'll see how things transpire, fans. We want to thank you guys for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is our Sunday special. We just hit you guys with a little content. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it on your Easter Sunday or whenever you listen to the podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Cleveland, let's give Cleveland a round of applause for tuning in. Tuning in today. We appreciate you, man. And fans, enjoy your week of sports. Follow us on voice of the fans @_voiceofthefans.org @_voiceofthefans.org. You could @_voice of the fans on Twitter. And then you can still follow us at voiceofthefans.org. Check out our content. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, thank you for making our voice your choice.